Hello to my Leos. This is Queen Amun-Ra coming to you with your reading. All right, sending everybody lots of love and light. This reading is going to be for the 6th of September through the 13th of September. We are in the full moon phase, Leos. Full moon phase. A full moon phase is a time for intuition and creativity, but also for workings associated with banishing and letting go. Okay. So once the moon reaches its peak of that energy, we're in full moon phase right now. We have a full moon on the 7th, right? And it's continuing to expose to your dreams, daydreams, night dreams, all kinds of downloads. This is a time for divination, cleansing, and charging your tools under the moonlight. This is a time for you to make protective amulets, which I do sell. This is a time for you to cleanse and charge your crystals and gemstones under the moonlight. I do sell gemstones and crystals. You can find all of this on my Etsy store. You can go to my website, queenamunra.com. Right? This is my raw oil, your awakening oil. Right? Help you with your opening up your spiritual eyes. Right? Awakening. Right? Also, you can make moon water during this time. You can also harvest herbs at this time. It's easier to dry during this time. So all those wonderful things. Let's expose some secrets. Let's expose some secrets. As you all know, if you've been tuned to if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. I take it all the way down to the lowest frequency where their veil is thin, very, very thin, to expose secrets. Then bring you back up to a higher frequency. So take only what resonates with you. Instead of looking at something as being negative, look at it as there could be some people that's on a lower frequency right now that may need your prayers or your words of encouragement or your positive energy. So this could apply to you or anybody that you know. Send out good energy into the universe. So I take it all the way down to the lowest of low. So it could be triggering. It can be triggering to some people. Whatever source tells me to share with you all, that's what I'm going to share. All right. You all roll 5th house, Leos. So go and check your birth chart. I do birth chart readings as well. Check your birth chart. You don't need your time of birth, because there's plenty of people on planet Earth that don't know what time they were born. That's not as unusual as people think. 5th house. The energy in the 5th house, the zodiac sign in your 5th house, is an energy that was assigned to you. That was assigned to you. Okay. They were assigned to you to mess up your mental health, your sexual health, anything around your 8th house. Anything around your 8th house. 8th house would be speaking to intimacy and shared possessions. Please check your birth chart. Like I said, I have a birth chart link on my website, queenamunra.com. I do birth chart readings, and I do provide a comprehensive report. For those people who are like, oh my God, this is just too much information to read. I do provide a comprehensive report, okay, in my birth chart readings. And you get a free reading during the birth chart readings, but they're pretty lengthy to kind of really break down everything for you. Get a chance to ask questions, all those things, right? So the energy in your 8th house, in your 5th house. So 5th house is creativity and children. It encompasses creativity, play, and leisure. So our activities here bring joy and delight, serving to reinforce a sense of being a special and unique individual. But children come under this house too, as do romance and gambling, right? So this is where you take a gamble, Leos. Find out what your zodiac sign is in your 5th house, because that is the energy around intimacy and shared possessions that would have lured you into something that concerns intimacy and shared possessions. That's the energy you were linking up with, okay? So let's expose some secrets here. That energy would have been jealous, secretive, and obsessive, right? Right? It would have taken someone who is high vibrational, someone who is passionate, resourceful, and brave for you to first see the difference between the two, right? The Scorpio rules 8th house, right? So somebody was trying to mess up your sex life, love life, whomever, right? So you would have had to have an experience with someone who is passionate, resourceful, and brave. Someone who's not ashamed of, like, maybe who they dated in the past, who they would just, like I said, they have a very brilliant mind, but they would use it for good instead of evil. Somebody who was like, okay, so what, you know, you tried this in the past, or you tried that in the past, okay, and next, right? Versus someone who is jealous, secretive, and obsessive, who would have turned around and used it against you later. Okay, this is who's trying to mess up somebody's love life, sex life, right? Intimacy life. All right? Your romantic life, right? So since Scorpios rule 8th house, someone who is detached, unpredictable, and aloof, you would have also come across that type of energy too. But you would have also had to find someone who was independent, innovative, and a visionary. Like, that's the two sides of an Aquarius. A high vibrating Aquarius is innovative, independent, and a visionary. So you would have seen something in a vision, maybe a dream state or whatever. You would have seen them in a dream state in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Somebody who's just like, unapologetically about, whatever they're into, whatever, right? So you could have linked up with somebody in the spiritual sense, right? A low vibrating Aquarius is someone who is detached, unpredictable, and aloof. In other words, somebody would, right now at the time of filming, and all of my videos are timeless, but at the time of filming, because we're coming up on this full corn moon in Aries on the 7th, right? But a low vibrating Aquarius is detached, unpredictable, and aloof. Right now, both of their ruling planets, Saturn and Uranus, are both retrograde. Saturn is a very hard-working, disciplined planet. It's a karmic planet. Uranus is the planet that throws people off about Aquarius, because that's the rebellious planet. It's a very cold planet. It makes them seem aloof to a whole lot of people, right? But Aquarius would have to have their boots on the ground now while both of their planets are retrograde to really slow down to understand how their ruling planets affect their zodiac sign and what really sets them apart from high vibrating Aquarius to low vibrating Aquarius. Just like you all are ruled by the sun, you'd have to get out in the sun more for somebody to be able to separate high vibrating Leos than to low vibrating Leos, right? But you also have to know when to get your rest. So we're going to dive into your reading, because what I'm picking up on is that love may be, some of you all may want to be in healthy love relationships, right? But just kind of sort of like open to just kind of sort of learning how, like, how can I be in a healthier love relationship besides, okay, let me just go completely cold, let me go completely abstinent from sex, and so I could just kind of sort of sort this thing out in my mind. A birth chart can actually help you with that, right? It can actually really, really help you with that. So let's get into your reading. So because Spirit shows you releasing any kind of self-doubt, you're stepping into divine courage, and you're radiating heart-centered truth, right? So this reading is going to offer guidance, energetic clarity, soul-centered wisdom for the 6th through the 13th. Like I said, we are in full moon phase. Put your gemstones and crystals out now. It's very different than the blood moon that we had. That's where you want to keep your gemstones and crystals indoors, because you're cutting blood ties, right? So you're not trying to supercharge your crystals. Then you're not trying to reconnect with those energies, right? So now you can put your gemstones and crystals back outside 3 days prior to, 3 days after. If picking up all that energy, that good energy, that recharging and charging up those gemstones and crystals, right? So the current energy for you all would be this, right? Your card appears, Spirit confirms that you are entering a week of inner mastery and courage, and compassion, not control, is your greater power. So keep this in mind. Somebody in your 5th house, your zodiac sign in your 5th house, would have been the one that played some kind of role in messing up your intimacy or your love life. They played some kind of role in messing up your intimacy and love life. So find out what that zodiac sign is, because of them being jealous, secretive, and obsessive, right? Scorpio rules 8th house. That's the love life, intimacy, and all of that. And somebody, you would have had an interaction with a high vibrating Scorpio. If we're talking about your love life, you would have had an interaction with a high vibrating Scorpio, someone who is passionate, resourceful, and brave, to know the difference between the two. That's why I always tell people, don't get fixated. I don't like this zodiac sign, I don't like that zodiac sign. Why? Right? You can learn something from everybody. So, and then go to your 8th house. We're talking about your love life here, because you're taking a gamble on something now. And you're saying, you know what? I'm tired of the wheel not being in my favor when it comes to my love life. I don't want to be in survival mode. You know, I'm a person who wears my heart on my sleeve. Like, come on now. Like, your person has to be out here, whoever you are, right? So somebody is bringing something to light. Bringing something to light. So then go find out what your zodiac sign is in your 8th house. So we're talking about intimacy and shared possession. That's the other way somebody's going to know that somebody just does. If you, let's say, for instance, you made a fortune. Let's say you are the wheel of fortune, right? You took a gamble on something. Hey, guess what? You made a fortune. That's the only way you're going to know, by taking a gamble on, okay, who wants you for your fortune or who doesn't want you for your fortune, right? So intimacy and shared possessions, right? So somebody is going through a transformation, because Scorpio rules 8th house. It is a house of death. It's a house of shared possessions and intimacy, but it's also a house of deep, dark, and mysterious, also intimate relationships, and also death and transformation. It could totally be a turnoff in your intimacy and shared possessions if you feel like somebody from your past put you in survival mode and try to take everything you had from you. It could absolutely put you in that mindset, like, oh nah, you know, that felt like a shark. You almost died. You mean you almost lost everything. Somebody could have almost lost everything, right? So here you are having a tower moment, a total recall of some things. And this is the challenge here. You having a total recall, because you like people who wear their heart on their sleeve. You like people who are just going to be open, wear their heart on their sleeve, not being secretive and sneaky, where you got to pull teeth and find out this later on and oops upside your head. Like what happened? All of this other stuff, right? This kind of goes to, and thank you to the Leo who actually put a very transparent comment under my last video when I was talking about how some mothers pass that real hurt, dark, toxic feminine energy off to their daughters when it comes to them dating, whether you date men or women, whatever. But somebody has been praying for somebody to be really open and transparent with, right? Well, you can be open and transparent. You can cut through the, cut to the chase, right? And be transparent with, right? And so you may have had a first impression of somebody. You could have had a first impression that somebody was impulsive, aggressive, or impatient. But now you're starting to see, okay, somebody's courageous, energetic, and pioneering, right? So something is a win-win for you. Something is a win-win for you, right? So your 6th house is going to also be of importance as well, because 6th house speaks to the next house over. Like, you rule 5th house, 6th house. Virgos rule 6th house, but we're not necessarily talking about a Virgo. We're talking about you being very meticulous with going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. In the past, this is you right here. There's nothing wrong with like being on stage. There's absolutely nothing wrong, because it actually inspires people that's sitting in the audience when you're talking to people, when you're on stage. That's why I keep telling Leos, don't turn down your light. You attract everything. This spotlight right here may blind you from seeing who's in the audience, but it doesn't blind them from seeing you fully on stage, how you are. They don't miss anything, right? If you guys, speaking of a corn moon, if you got corn in between your teeth, they're not gonna miss it in the audience. If you got, you know, one pant leg is higher than the other, they're not gonna miss it. If your skirt is too short or too long, they not gonna miss it. If you got on kitten heels or you got on high heels and red bottoms, guess what? They not gonna miss it, right? If that's really your hair, your person better make sure they did such a great job at hiding your tracks or whatever. They'll be able to see it in the audience. You get the point. Like you're used to this. You're used to being on stage, right? Right. So the last thing you need in an intimacy and shared possessions is anybody that's going to be secretive. That's the last thing, because that's what happened possibly to you all in the past, in friendships, family, whoever. And then you had to find something by having a tower moment. Oh my God, I didn't know they were like that, right? So a light is shining on something now. A light is shining on something now. So it's like, get outside and get that sunlight. You don't need anybody in your corner who is going to be hiding secrets. The secret is for all Leos to be out in the sun. That's the secret right there. Okay? And get recharged from the sun and get your rest at night so that you can get your downloads to your dreams. Right? And also go to my store and get your gemstones and crystals, charge them up. That's one thing. From mine or wherever. You get them from wherever. But if you're going to cleanse them, some of them can be cleansed under the sunlight. Right? Right? Or charged under the sunlight and charged under the moonlight for secrets. Of course, but let's get back to your reading. You had some kind of idea who was behind some kind of first impression of just anybody that you may have felt like, okay, you want to be romantically linked with, and who may have said somebody got mental problems, they sleep around, they're part of a sex ring, blah, 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 all that other craziness, right? Somebody who you had some idea of who was behind what, but you weren't really sure of who, you know, why, like the why. Why would somebody do that? Why would somebody say that about somebody, right? But something had to take you all the way back to who was behind harming you, right? So it takes somebody who is not only transparent, somebody who is really transparent with themselves for you to say, okay, this person is not ashamed, they're transparent, they're this and that. Okay, then you can be transparent, right? Again, we're talking about your love life. So you're now taking a gamble on something. You're saying, okay, I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna take a gamble on something, right? Whoever you are, right? And you entered into someone's dream state and exposed who was behind someone trying to not only dim someone's stardom or their light. You could be famous or not famous, but who tried to end you. There's a difference between dimming your light and ending you. It's like riding through a sundown town, right? But people told you, hey, listen, don't go in there at night because you may not come out of that. So whoever you are, you took a chance in saying, you know what? Let me tap into something. Let me tap into a dream state, right? And nobody will know who you are because people value your star too much. People value your star too much. So that's not something you even have to worry about somebody trying to expose you. Matter of fact, whoever you are, they would be extremely grateful for you shining a light on something. This is why I tell Leos, don't turn down. People who are secure with themselves absolutely love high vibrating Leos. I'm talking about even in your family. They love, you just the apple of their eye for real. And they're not trying to compete with you. They just love seeing you be in full Leo mode. But you'll also now know who in your family has always had an issue with themselves, and they try to project that onto you. Because those are the ones that don't have a problem calling you names, don't have a problem letting their siblings call you names, people mistreating you, telling you to tone it down a bit instead of helping you to refine it, right? So your 8th house, that zodiac sign, you're helping people to get to a rebirth, right? Just like other people are helping you to get through a rebirth as well. Okay, so the secret for you is getting out in the sunlight, but also getting your rest. That may sound like it's just common sense, but it really isn't for a lot of people who are overgivers. Okay, Leos. Opal is going to be significant for you all. It represents faithfulness and confidence, because somebody has been dealing with people who have not been faithful to you or to whatever vow they may have made in a love relationship with you. So opal, since we are in October, the energy around an opal, the stone, is it encourages creativity and it emits a protective aura, right? And so you want to hold an opal and safely and say quietly or loud, with colors of flame that shift in the light, no wonder this stone does entrance. Chameleon, its charms, they shift and disarm. Its wearer feels strong, free, and bright. It's a very powerful stone, opal is, right? And I try to share as much as I possibly can with my community here. I've already prayed over everyone's cards. I've already, and I want you all to say your own prayer. You want to be very careful with people who want to know exactly what they're praying for you, because a lot of the times that comes up under the guise of prayer. You're telling them, but you're also telling their demons, as well as your demons. Your temptations would be demons, what your weaknesses are. So when you're saying, oh, you know, how can I just find somebody who is faithful to me? You need to keep that to yourself. I've already prayed the prayer of so that you won't be trafficked in the spiritual realm. And then also to protect you from being trafficked in the spiritual realm, so that somebody won't feel like it's okay to enter into your space and play on your deepest, darkest emotions, because you're so tired. You know, that could be an emotion for you. You're so tired, you're fired up, and you're so angry. And I'm inspiring people, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. Why is love so overwhelming? Why is it so overwhelming? Because people were being secretive up front, right? And you trying to ask questions, you're trying to get some answers out of some people, and what are they doing? Whatever your moon sign is what nurtures you, what mothers you, right? What nurtures you. We're not talking about your mother, but you know where you feel safe in a relationship, and you know where you don't feel safe in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a job, love relationship, whatever, right? But somebody you could have been in a relationship with could have been so overwhelmed, it almost seemed like they were escaping reality, being very vague, not really giving you everything you had. You feel like you were pulling teeth. And so when you have a download or a dream about some things, and you're like, okay, I just wish I could find someone who has purged their past in every way, even if they were what people said. Now people I feel like finding out that people were lying about. It's almost basically like telling lies about people to block you from them, right? Block you from finding your person. That's why when you're out here saying, I wish, you know, can you pray for me because I got this going on, that going on? Can you just stand in agreement with my prayers? That's it right there. Either they're going to say yes or no. You're a prayer warrior. You came from prayer warrior family, right? And so somebody had a first impression of you, right? And it could have been a lasting impression of you, whatever it was. And so sources said, but no, you came from a prayer warrior family. And when people move heaven and earth that try to stop or block you, that's where some people who have an assignment to go all the way down to the lowest frequency to shine a light to say, hey, guess what? Even if people thought you were a part of a sex ring or that you was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, for real. And I'm not saying this to try to be funny either, because I'm telling y'all, some of y'all exes out here telling all kinds of lies. They're not giving you room to, they're not, and this again speaks to a previous reading where I said toxic feminine energy, project that energy onto all men or all women. You'll never find somebody else. All the good men, all the good women are gone. You got to move to the moon to find somebody. Not true. The perfect person for you is out here. But somebody has been praying for faithfulness and confidence, right? Somebody who is confident and somebody who's going to be faithful, right? Somebody not necessarily like a Leo. I don't feel like you're praying for another Leo to come across your path. You know, that'd be a bit too much. Both of y'all have to have stages next to each other in the basement where they got their audience, you got yours. And then y'all end up rolling around on the floor like the two brothers on the 5 Heartbeats. But in the movie The 5 Heartbeats. No, but you need somebody who is confident in themselves enough to not only cheer you on in an audience, right? You're their number one fan and they're your number one fan. Y'all get the point of what I'm saying. That's what's coming across your path here for some of you all. Somebody who, and some of you all already have that in your lives. Some of you all have that person already in your life. They're not overdoing it, right? They're right there with you. They cheering you on. You know they're your biggest fan. They're not going to let you walk up on stage looking crazy, and vice versa. You're going to make sure they're taking care of you. They're vice versa, right? And so that's what I'm seeing for you all so far. So opal is the stone for October. And this is for anybody. It's a stone for October. Like I said, the meaning, the opal represents faithfulness and confidence. Okay. So put your stone out, charge it up, and let's dive in. Let's dive in. So this is your current energy, the Strength card. So this is your card. Spirit confirms that you are entering a week of inner mastery and courage, and compassion, not control, is your greatest power here. And so the challenge is the Tower. So change may arrive suddenly. And so Spirit says to you all, what falls away was never truly aligned. This clearing creates space for authentic growth, right? Yeah, create space for authentic growth, because you really want to know, like, when you're not on stage and when you're not in the spotlight, who really does have your back for real. Like, you really want to know who's really your friend. If things are not going well in your life, who's really there for you. If you having a low moment where you feel overwhelmed by something, who is going to be sitting there waiting to stomp you into oblivion. Oh my God, who finally a Leo is down on it. Okay, this is my time right here. Okay, let's stomp on them. Who in the world wants people around them like that? They can't wait for you to be down and then they right there to just stomp out the last little flame you got in you. No, you don't want nobody like that. Not in any way, shape, form, or fashion, as a friend, love interest, or whatever. So Source is trying to help somebody recognize that, listen, yeah, this is going to be you on stage, but sometimes it's going to be your love interest on stage, right? Sometimes it's going to be friends on stage. Sometimes you want people around you that's when you get on stage, okay, they not looking left and right like they're at a tennis match because they so distracted by, okay, the loud clapping for you, right? This is what somebody's ex-family has experienced. It could have been a toxic mother, toxic aunt, toxic women in your family. Whoever could experience this with guys. You know, they competing with the people in their family. So therefore, they still got that energy until you come across somebody who has purged and say, okay, this is best practices. They've been through that, but guess what? They have healed from that. They're not bringing you all their dirty laundry and baggage for you to clean up, right? That's what I'm seeing here in your cards. So that's what I'm seeing. You got somebody has a love in their life coming across their life that has purged all of that generational goof that they had in their spirit, right? They've done the spiritual cleansing, abstinence, all of that other stuff. So you may have been in that space as well. They absolutely are there cheering and clapping for you, right? Have y'all seen the challenge on, what is it? Is it on TikTok or Instagram where somebody, you know, basically standing behind somebody that you better buy my so-and-so such and such. They have a challenge online where people are talking about, you know, basically you gotta buy my husband's or wife's, whatever. You better buy my, you know, so-and-so family member such and such, you know. They selling this, and the person who's selling something is kind of, you know, and it's just all jokes, right? Is acting like they're shy and they're afraid of the spotlight or whatever. And somebody's like, you better, it's basically like somebody, y'all better clap or cheer for Leo. Y'all better stop playing. Somebody has always had somebody in your family like this. Somebody who's always had your back since y'all were younger. And that's the kind of energies Leos need around them. But you also have to be that for them as well, right? That's the only way you're going to be eyes and ears for them and looking in that crowd, because guess what? They eyes and ears for you when you up on stage and you can't see what's down in the audience. They the ones that's looking around like, oh, I thought that was your friend. So-and-so wasn't clapping or cheering. They got up, they went to the bathroom. Every single time is your time. They out there cleaning house for you, but you out there doing the same thing for them. That's how you're going to see faithfulness in your relationships with people. And that's what I'm seeing for you all. They out there looking at everybody. They like this, watching everything, paying attention to everything. Oh, that's your girl? That's your boy? Oh, nah. And you know that they don't have any ill intentions towards like trying to break up your friendships or anything like that. They just know like, nah, maybe they may even say to you, okay, if you don't believe me, pray about it and do a detox. You pray about it and do a detox. Because it's not going to be 1, 2, 3 times. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5 times that you may need to see it. Like that somebody may say, okay, now this the 5th time now. That every single time you got something going on, Leos, so-and-so is not there for you. It's the same usual suspects. They're not there for you when you need somebody to be in your corner, Leo. They can't show up for your stuff. They not clapping and cheering. You got an event going on. They're never there. They're going to be the ones, your person is going to be the one that's out here in the audience noticing that. They're going to be the one keeping count. They're going to be the one that's the fact checker, the auditor, right? When you up here blinded by the lights, they down here auditing stuff. That's them. That's not your friend, that's your friend. That's not your friend, that's your friend. That family member is fake. This one right here always got your back. This one right here, they sometimey. You may have to put them in the sometimey bin. This one over here, they out there telling, they meticulously looking at everything. They not missing a beat. They're not your God, just so we're crystal clear, right? So they don't want to be bowed down to like a God, like they're your God, right? But they can certainly lead you to water. It's up to you to drink it. That's how you're going to be choosing your business partners. That's how you're going to choose who you patronize. If you patronize this channel or somebody else's channel, whoever is most meticulous for you, that's going to really do it for you. That's how you're going to find who works best with you and who's most transparent. People who are not trying to hide information. Right? Hiding it for what? It's out there for everybody. If you're operating in your North Node or your 10th house, or you've answered the vocation on your life, the call on your life, the inner call from the inside, that's the person that's cheerful. They're a cheerful giver to the Creator. That's a cheerful giver to the Creator. It's not about just being a cheerful giver to you. You're going to get whatever frequency you're on. It's a cheerful giver to the Creator. Very much like you. You want to make sure before you get in front of the lights, camera, action, that you dang near perfect, right? You were very meticulous from head to toe. And it's the same thing with some people operating in their purpose. They want to make sure they get it right because that's the passion that they have for the energy, the collective community. You're having a silent tower moment, but you're also having a loud tower moment. Somebody is going through a rebirth right now. And when you're going through a rebirth, the last thing you need around you are people who are jealous, secretive, and obsessive. They go from being a fan to being a fanatic. Meaning that once they can't be the loudest clapping, cheering energy for you, guess what they try to do? End you. Oh, this person is a garden tool behind closed doors. You don't know this about them. You don't know that about you. They're giving TV interviews. They got you posted up like a ventriloquist doll on YouTube. They got all this going on, telling everybody what goes on behind closed doors because they have been at war with themselves than before they even met you. You just got caught in the crossfire. They've been at war with themselves. And that's exactly what, this is why you show compassion for toxic feminine energies, your mom, your aunties, your grandparent, all of, this is why you show compassion for these energies. However, you close out that cycle. You end it. You put them right where they belong in your life. You accept that's what happened in their lives. But guess what? I'm gonna have to put you outside because you waiting, you get too much joy out of ending energies because you feel like somebody got joy out of ending you. No, I need to put you over here in this bin over here because you doing the most. You need a spiritual detox, a cleanse. But to tell somebody that, it would sound like you're judging them. What's hidden in this card is the Judgment card, and also Mars, the Tower card. They be ready to fight you. Mars is the fighting planet. It's the energy planet. It's the aggressive planet. You would literally bring out the aggression in them, the impatience in them, and the impulsive behavior in them. Oh, you patient with everybody else, but you can't be patient with me. I was patient with you. I didn't realize it was a patience contest. That's the energy you're saying. You're like, will you do this for them? It would bring out a dark side of them. Who was most patient with whom? You don't need that. If it was a contest from the beginning, then hey, listen. So this is where you're recognizing how you can notice a person is a fan, but then they become a fanatic. Then they become a fanatic to yours, right? So again, you're balancing it out. Somebody is not trying to know every little thing about you up front, too fast, too soon, too this and that. But so yeah, you're protected. If you know how to astral project into people's dreams, you're divinely protected. You have nothing to worry about. People would just assume, if I say Leo, if I happen to follow you online or happen to add comments to you, they will assume that it's you. As if I don't have Leos in my family. As if I don't have Leos that's not on social media, right? So people can assume what they want to assume about whomever they want to assume about. You're not giving any energy to it, because once you expose the truth, guess what? People they're gonna choose to not believe it, or they're gonna believe it. That's just on them. But yeah, so I do see you being victorious. Yeah, because your gifts are opening up. That's why I teach the way that I teach. I want everybody to tap into their gifts. This right here is best practices. What did you learn? What did your ancestors learn? What was passed down to you? How are you using it for good and not evil? Some people they will keep that information secret for many reasons. Usually it's because of fear. They don't want people to know that they're into moon magic, or they don't want people to assume that they're using it for darkness, or they want people to assume. They worry too much. They're doing too much worrying, just overthinking something. So the Ace of Wands for you would be near future. A surge of passion and purpose ignites. Spirit reveals a creative awakening. So follow what sets your soul ablaze. Follow what sets your soul ablaze, right? I see you being, you embody Emperor energy, right? People may think that you're impulsive. They may think that you're aggressive, and they may think that you're impatient, but actually you're courageous, you're energetic, and pioneering. I'm telling you, people who are secure with themselves really, really do love Leos, for real. Whoever y'all been around who has an issue, listen, once you realize when you on stage and you can't really see what people are doing in the audience, you blinded by the lights, and somebody's coming back to you basically protecting your energy, right? They'll keep certain things from you because you don't need to know everything. You be overthinking it. But y'all get the point. Certain other things, people will be very, very meticulous. Okay, like this is the 4th or 5th time you've actually invited so-and-so to such and such. Okay, what's their excuse this time? Because you're worried about them, you're concerned. What's their excuse this time? That's leading you to water, and it's up to you to drink it. That's not basically saying you need to cut somebody off, you need to end it, because it's levels to it. That'd be like somebody saying you need to cut your child off, or you need to cut your parents off, or you need to cut your best friend off that y'all been friends for years, and you're just like, okay, wow, that's gonna literally feel like a death right now. I got too much going on. Y'all get the point. I got too much going on. I can't just cut them off right now because I don't feel like being in that sad, low place, right? So it's layers to it and how people deliver messages to you. So I do see you being a prayer warrior and praying about your gifts. You have a lot of spiritual gifts, and you're not going to be afraid to journal those gifts either, because you're a star. You've been born a star. We're not talking about celebrity. I don't idolize humans. Y'all should know that by now. I don't idolize humans. I've met too many people. Like, I've met a lot of people. And I'm just grateful that people answered the call on their lives. So I would say, oh my God, I read your book. Like, what was the inspiration behind that? Y'all know how many I love to read books. What was the inspiration behind that book? Because my interpretation of something could be somebody else's interpretation, right? They could be the main character in their book, but guess who could also be a breakout star in their book? It could be another relative. Like, we read books all the time, and we may say, oh man, you know, that one right there, I can most relate to that one right there. That character in their book, that could be somebody else's book or their story, could inspire you to shine brighter, right? So you know the difference between a low vibrating Leo and a high vibrating Leo. You are not like all Leos. You stand out, right? That's what Source is trying to tell you, is that you're on the rebirth side of your star. You're on the rebirth side of your star. Yeah. And you're becoming more innovative, more independent, more of a visionary. Somebody's gifts have really opened up here. I love this for you. I love this. But yeah, somebody told you to sit down. Somebody tried to extinguish your flame because of how somebody treated them. It's another Leo who extinguished your flame because of how people treated them. But that's not you anymore. You're doing a full cleansing and a detox. And when somebody come to you and say, well, let's pray together or whatever, you're not telling them. Just stay in agreement with my prayer. Well, I need to know. No, you don't. Tap in. Tap in. Tap in the source if you really want to know what my prayers are. No, you don't need to know what. Nah. I've already talked to source. I just need you to stand in agreement with my prayers. If you have my best interest at heart and you looking out for me, you gonna be just like that energy in the audience. Praying over my friendships, praying over my marriage, praying over my job. You want the best for me. Not better, but the best for me. What works best for me. And you don't see that as a competition. You don't see that as competition. They got your 6. They got your 6. Right? They got you covered. And so your hopes and fears is, you know, transformation. This is death. This is hopes and fears. Transformation may feel intense, but Spirit assures you endings bring freedom. And the phoenix rising through the ashes, so will you. Here you come, phoenix rising out of the ashes. People never thought that you were going to come back from some things. But guess what? They already counted you out. They already said, okay, that one over there, they dead. They gone, they dead and gone. Let's just go ahead and start some slow singing and let's start writing an obituary. But you're on the rebirth side. Energy never dies. Your star is rising again. You're not playing games with people. The moment somebody starts trying to count you out, oh, your career is about to go kaput. You know, this person's this is happening. All somebody needed to pray for in terms of your love life, whoever you are, is someone who's going to be confident and be faithful, and not somebody who's going to be vague with their stuff and just be seeing you as competition at all. For what? Who? Y'all, listen, who is whose competition? Nobody. You can buy into that if you want to. People always try to use people's words against them. Learn how to recall all your power with harm to nobody else. When I leave you, I'm taking all of my power with me, right? But what do people take? They got to take, you know, the gifts that people brought them. They brought me this gift, but they take an energy and don't know how to spiritually cleanse that energy off. They take it everything with them. Cutting couches in half. The energy's still on. Yeah, so closure. Yeah, so you have some closure. Look at you, you have some closure. Some people, they just leave everything. They just like, they don't want any of that because all of that is energy. You have a whole new beginning. Whole new beginning. Yeah, so pay close attention to your dreams. Close attention to your dreams. You've just awakened a new gift that's been dormant. So here we have reconciliation here. Reconciliation here. All right, let's see what we got in these pink cards, Leos. But yeah, somebody who was jealous, secretive and obsessive was really a handler for you. They were leading you right into death. They didn't want you to find out your secret. Your secrets have been overwhelming for you, but you need people that's going to gently lead you to water and not force you into something. Basically, like, look at this. Okay? What you going to do with that? That's up to you. So somebody is a Cambian spirit that's an offspring from between an incubus, succubus, and a human parent, right? You got to first recognize that you had a sex demon attached to you first. That has to be first and foremost. And then you got to go through the process of doing a spiritual cleanse, right? And doing a spiritual cleanse. Because that's how somebody was attracting people to you that were not faithful. That's how you were attracting those type of energies. So somebody misses you. Somebody is a changeling, the child of fairies. And of course, I'm not making any derogatory comments against any group of people, because I don't consider anybody in the LGBTQIA plus community that. This is like fairy tales. Somebody's selling you some kind of a fairy tale life with them, right? Basically, somebody says, you know, if you were with me, I would never do this and I would never do that. That right there is a lie, because we're in human form. Somebody saying they're gonna always and never. Those two words right there should let you know. When somebody says, I would never do this, I would always, how would they know? I'll always have your back. There is no way a human being can always have another human being back. They can do the best that they can, right? But what happens if, you know, you're expecting somebody to show up at an event because you're on stage somewhere and their car stalls? That takes them out of the always right there. That takes them out of the always right there. They can't always or never, right? I would never break your heart. Sometimes you can break somebody's heart unintentionally. So I'm seeing here that something is happening with somebody where you are starting to realize you just want somebody who's going to be faithful, whether you in the spotlight or not. Okay, that's just going to really narrow it down right there. Or somebody was your handler, whatever their zodiac sign is in your fifth house. Somebody was led to, like I said, in terms of your love life, whoever this is for you all. And Scorpios rule 8th house. That doesn't mean that your zodiac sign is a Scorpio in your 5th house, but you know, here we have time to ground yourself. Yeah, your ex somebody ex want to return, child. If they don't go sit down, whoever your ex is, they need to go sit all the way down, child. Because guess what? You got new love coming across your path. Whoever you are, you could already be in your relationship with your person. So if you're already with your person, obviously this should not resonate. This part should not resonate with you. You're with your person. But somebody ex wants to return. So get focused. Get laser focused. It's not game time. It's not you not taking a gamble on something. We're gonna roll the dice and see. You know, let me just go see them one last time. You didn't mess it up. Let me go see what they talking about. You don't need to know. They ain't talking about nothing. They want to return because somebody's starting to realize how you really honed in on your prayer life. You really said, okay, I know exactly what I want and I'm not deviating from that. I know what they look like on the outside and on the inside. On the outside, they could be fine as frog hair, but on the inside, they sneaky, they this and that. They withholding information. They vague when I ask them questions. They hemming and hawing. They doing the most. Oh, so yeah. Somebody is so your person is not like that at all. The spy is turned on. All right, Leos, the spies are turned on. So yeah, so here we have always bet on you. Of course, your ex wants you back. But see, the sad thing about a lot of people's exes are with somebody right now, and guess what? That person must be in a coma for not to even realize that somebody wants you back. Something must be wrong with that person. I mean, for real. And again, you sending love and light to everybody, but hey, you stay over there. The relationship is over. We're not getting back together. Somebody's a succubus. Yeah, so somebody's supposed to incubi and succubi. In other words, you could have been with a succubus, or your person who it could be with a succubus, right? And so if you're with a succubus, they may still have a sex demon attached to them, right? But it obviously would be in an unhealthy way, right? We're not talking about somebody who just knows that there's nothing wrong with sex and money, right? But this is a person who will become fanatic. They go from fan to fanatic, okay? There's a big difference. They trying to mess up everything. They writing columns, writing books about you, trying to get rich off of you, that kind of stuff, versus just quietly fading into the background. If something don't work out, okay, didn't work out with you, didn't work out for them, okay, they become an X. We don't need to communicate no more. I don't have nothing as yours, you don't have nothing of mine. Okay, your energy is over there, my energy is over here. But that's not what I see coming across your path. This is why your ex wants to come back in, because you have really narrowed it down. Now your ex, they left a lint ball on the carpet. Okay, child, you didn't vacuum 15,000 times. There's no lint ball left anywhere, and they want to get in your house. They want to get in your house. They want to see who was there. Talk. Let's just talk to them. Can we put the past behind us? Yeah, you've been put the past behind you. Yeah, put yourself first. You've been put the past behind you. You done moved on. Here we have schedule a vacation. You put the past behind you. You ain't thinking about nobody. You're not in survival mode. You're a good cheer. You're happy. You put the past behind you. So yeah, don't carry the sins of people in your family who they died with that in them. They've never met the love of their lives because their exes were holding on to some kind of dirt and then added to it to make it seem more salacious, just to make money, or just to, when I say make money, maybe not in terms of like their bank account increasing, but to just have people value them even more. Oh, you dated so-and-so? You were in a relation with so-and-so? Oh, if I were you, I would write a book on that. I would do this, I would do that. That's how they were making money, to say that somebody was dating you. Oh yeah, we were married, we got kids together, and so, oh, you don't know the half. Would nobody even be looking at them if it wasn't for you? And I'm not saying this to boost anybody's ego at all, but until they recognize that they have a purpose in this world, and that source could take them, usher them straight to the front of the line, and wherever they are, they're gonna always be eating off of you. Because they don't have nothing else to talk about. They don't have nothing else to talk about. Because if somebody was asking about their life, it'd just be crickets. Because they had the personality of a leaf. Child, a personality of a leaf, child, just blowing in the wind. Anyway, that's what I have for you all, Leo. So keep shining bright unapologetically. But that's what I'm saying, love in somebody's life. Stretch it out. Downward dog, child. Downward dog. Look, adjust your crown. Third eye chakra cleanse. That's what this oil is here. This is my raw oil. All right. But yeah, so awakening. That's the awakening oil there. But yeah, some of these energies, child, the stuff that they said about you behind your back, because they never had your back. They always saw you as competition. They excommunicated out of your cycle, out of your circle, you close out the cycle in love. Because you only had to talk about it. They don't have nothing else going on until they realize they serve a purpose in this world, and that's where the compassion comes in. But stop eating off of you. They come from a long line of prayer warriors themselves. Somebody in their family is a prayer warrior. So sanctity. So yeah, so through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. This keeps coming out of y'all cards. Somebody is going to be running a church, a mosque, a temple, or something. But at first, somebody couldn't because, and it's just somebody, that's not your call, and don't be doing, just don't be just jumping up on. But somebody is going to be running some kind of a religious organization, because that's what you were called to do. Right, but somebody may have been looking up to people who they seem like this is a transference of wealth. This is what a transference of wealth looks like. Not necessarily transference of wealth in terms of money, but transference of wealth. And it's sources like, hey, listen, I'm gonna get this out of you before you die. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of you before you die. You ain't going down for the count. Okay, and you worried about what people are gonna be saying. Oh, y'all know how people say about artists. Like they be like, oh yeah, they went from this genre to Christian or gospel music. That lets you know their career was fading out. Not necessarily. People are a trip. They say anything to distract people from their own purpose, right? Anything to try to distract people. But listen, Source is not counting you out. Source is not counting you out. So I love this. I love this for whoever you are, right? You're gonna be bringing a whole lot of people to. So get focused. So people really want to be connected to you. That's all I can tell you. So people really, really want to be connected to you and whoever your new person is because of a purging that's happened. Yeah. People always talk about somebody on their way. Well, you can go ahead and write them off now. They basically talk about themselves, y'all. They talk about some. They feel like they need. Love don't live here no more. Well, now who passed that curse down to somebody? Why? Why not? All they had to do is purge all of that generational mess off of them and stay away from the people who keep talking about all men are horrible, all women are gold diggers, all men are dogs. You know, there's no good people out here. They were cursing themselves by their words and by who they were linking up with, right? You're not doing that anymore. Somebody wants somebody who is going to be faithful for real, somebody who's not going to be vague and, you know, take too long to tell people what's on their mind. Like, just be open and honest. Just be open, honest, and transparency is key. That's what I have for you also. Best wishes to everybody, whoever you are. Let's see what your number is. Yeah, 501. Unchain yourself. That's right. Somebody's unchaining themselves from these toxic energies, right? So there's space inside you being used to hold bitterness of the past. Your angels implore you to keep the lesson. So get outside near water because you've been dealing with somebody who has a variety. It could be a Taurus involved in something. Somebody was trying to make somebody look like a fool by going on a journey, on a cleansing, a spiritual cleansing journey, right? On a celibacy journey, on a basically if a person decides abstinence, somebody's like, oh yeah, they need to air out as many people as they had. What they really talking about is themselves, right? Child, they don't have the personality. They got the personality of a leaf. I mean, for real. Like, so, but release the negative. That's what you're doing, right? So take a moment now to visualize the anger you hold. Now picture yourself giving it back to the person or place that you received it from. So feel the freedom of not having to hold that anger any longer. Unchain yourself from that. Child, more people, there's so many people out here that are detoxing from, they're fasting and completely, they're detoxing and completely like going on a lifetime fast from certain types of energies. Once you've ascended, you've gone high because you're on the rebirth side now. You're no longer sitting in limbo. You know exactly what you want out of a person, right? You're not looking for perfection, not an always and a never person. Somebody is in human form. That's what I have for you also. You'll be scheduling a vacation and getting away from energies who see themselves as your handler. You know, that energy who feels like, okay, if it wasn't for them, you know, you would have died somewhere. Your career would have died. Your friendships would have died. This and that would have died. Everything would have died if it wasn't for them because they have a God complex. Recognize a God complex when you have one. Anybody who wants to do something for you, they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're not going to sit there holding it against you, Leos. Y'all get the point, but you're unchaining yourself. All right? Bye.